It's a big year for Yamaha, and they've really gone to town on the MX2 bike, the YZ250F. Every component on this bike has been redesigned. In terms of the engine, Yamaha has focused on the mid to top end range. They've done this with a new camshaft on the exhaust side that has a different profile, new fuel injection settings, a longer silencer, an updated ECU, and an improved water pump impeller. So the whole intake system is completely new. There's a redesigned airbox, so there's none of the old school inlet funnel. This airbox has been made a little bit shorter to allow a smoother and more direct route for the incoming air, and the air filter housing cover on the front of the seat has got new channels in it, which increases the volume of the intake air for even more performance at higher revs. The clutch holder has thicker walls and are stronger, because obviously clutch is really important on a high revving bike like a 250. Third, fourth and fifth gears on both the ingoing and the output shaft have been redesigned, and some of the gears are glass bead blasted to get rid of any friction. On the chassis, it's just like the 450 was last year, which in other words is all new. The swing arm is right off the 450. The actual frame itself might not look totally different to the old 250F, but the wall thicknesses has been changed to give the bike a different feel. The handlebars are further forward, there's new triple clamps, a new bar mounts and a new front axle. The Kayaba forks and rear shock, which are really good quality, everyone knows that, have been revalved with new settings, so no big changes there, but Yamaha have also focused on the brakes. There's a bigger front caliper and bigger discs all round, and the caliper's even lighter than before. Also, they're going to offer Monster Energy editions in the 250 and the 450. The Monster Energy versions just look different. There are no changes. But what's the bike actually like to ride? Our chief tester Dave Willett got to grips with the new YZ250F at Bilstein in Germany.
First impression of the bike when I was riding the bike was really good. The bike's balanced. I've stated that the power's a massive improvement. Chassis slimmer, feels really good. For me, one of the negatives regarding on the bike was probably the front suspension. Front suspension, I just felt like after riding the bike in a lot of sessions that I really benefited from opening up the rebound. I just needed the front forks just to feel a little bit more plusher, so I could flick and turn the bike around the track, and I just felt it was easier for me to place the bike where I wanted to place it. By just making the front forks, the front suspension, you know, just opening up the rebound. I went a little bit harder on the compression, and also on the back as well, on the rear shock. The high-speed compression, I opened that up a tad and just went in a little bit harder on the compression. I found that the benefits to that for me, again, you know, that really complemented the new chassis and the power. Now, regarding on the power front, on the previous model, I felt that the bike revved. It revved so high and so it stretched out so far, but the power did sign off and didn't really match the rev range. Now, the bike's got more of a meatier mid-range power that you can use, which allows you to use the gearbox, you know, a lot more. And when I say a lot more is that's because you can hold third easy and it will pull it. And also as well, in some of the tighter sections, when you want to stretch out second gear, you know, on some of the little stabby turns and coming out on the climbs, it really did stretch out second gear a little bit more, and then just allowed you to switch up into third. So for me, that was a massive plus, and something that really I think that a lot of people might not focus on, but they need to, because the bike, it really improved the bike. Yamaha have said that they've improved the gearbox, and that's, and when I say that, is in gear selection. And when I think back and when I was riding the bike, it's one of those things that we do actually take for granted. It was slick, you know, making them gear transitions, you know, from second to third and up to fourth and back down again. So yeah, so credit where credit's due. You know, the bike's been upgraded, and you can feel the benefits of the upgrades that have been done to the bike. If I was to be a little bit negative towards the bike, I'd definitely say that there's room for improvement, and and that is on the suspension. It's not going to be for Yamaha's traits. It's not going to be something that is going to be absolutely for everybody this time round. It's maybe going to be a little bit more niche. That said, it's a screwdriver away. You know, you're just going to be able to adjust that with just by making a few clicks of the suspension. Personally myself, I let on to another rider that I was with, one of my good friends, Twan, from Holland, and he specialises in suspension. And he said that he was feeling the same things as that I was feeling. It's just that we was feeling a little bit too much of the ground, and when I say that, I mean as in like there was a few bits where it was stony and loose, and the front wheel was just a little bit nervous and twitchy, and I could feel it wanted to move too much. It was just a little bit nervous, and you could feel that where it was picking up, that the ground or the terrain that you was in, it was just making the front wheel a little bit sensitive. Previously, the Yamaha clutch, it has a tendency sometimes to fade. They have upgraded the clutch as well, and I rode the bike in 5 20-minute sessions in standard form, and I kept the same bike. Luckily for me, no other journalist or no other test rider rode that bike, and it never faded for me. One thing that I did notice as well, which is something that I've been testing a little bit more of late, was when I was riding the bike first off in standard form with the standard settings, which was maybe a little bit firm or harsh, was that I could really feel the front wheel a little bit more than normal. Like you feel it flexing, and just touching back again. That was when you could feel the ground surfaces. I could feel a little bit flex in the wheel, especially on some of the bigger jumps. But as soon as we sorted out the suspension and got that tweaked and working, that kind of went away. That was nice to confirm, and basically just to get ticked off on the list that the suspension really does make a big difference right across the board.